What are you contemplating? This is full scale. This is full scale.
It's kind of close. I mean, not as big as my head.
You have an exceptionally large noggin. Yeah.
He's funny, isn't he?
Did you just get the orange one to match your watch band? It's pretty.
And funny
Look
enough,
at you. You're color coordinated.
You see my bracelet's got skulls on it too.
Sorry, I shouldn't say orange. You are of the era of Tang. You are Tang colored. What?
No. Oh, guess what? Guess what season it is?
Pumpkin spice. What does that say? It's too small.
It's Screamin' Pumpkin Ale. So, wait, hold on. Fresh.
Is that the sound bite?
Yeah.
That's the sound bite right there. I feel like I'm out of podcast practice here.
You've been in the wilderness for a little while.
I went off the radar. Yeah, I like drove off the ranch. Oh my goodness.
You know what?
It's
pretty positive,
back.
but I'm pretty positive you needed it.
Oh yeah, totally. And at the same time, like, it needed to be over after.
Oh, not one of those. It's like, okay, this was fun.
Well, okay, so my no one's gonna listen to this. In my family, I mean,
there you go.
I'm not doing this again. Like, my wife and I are done camping with kids. That's for sure. And like, they're not even kids anymore. They're not even kids.
They're all grown adults.
And yet they are. And yet and yet they are children.
They're all Are they? No, not all of them are legally adults.
Yeah, they all are.
I guess they all are. Yeah.
On my side, they are. You still got one, but
yeah, I've got one. But
she acts like an adult. That's different.
She acts like an adult, whereas yours and even my all legal drinking age children still don't act like adults.
You know, when the children are ready to come home, like, yeah, it's time to come home, because you can't fight it. It's just like, you don't even understand the planning, the cost, the value of the experience.
Right.
To have that kind of an attitude, sir and ma'am, madam. And when you're stuck in a car, okay, so any guesses on my overall trip mileage? I kept track this time.
I know that when we were talking about it with my trip, you were near I think you're like in the 2,700 range, but I'm gonna venture to guess to say around 4,200, just because.
How'd you do that? That's pretty damn good. It was 4,150 miles.
Because as a driver who drives all the time, I know what's planned.
Yeah.
And I know what happens.
Right.
And it's not quite double, but pretty damn close.
Because you were pretty close on both accounts. Like just to get there and to get back, it's about 1,350-ish each way. So that's pretty close to that is 2,700, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the 4,200 that you came up with. So I'm wondering like how you did that, because that was
because I do it all the time.
You just had a feeling,
and it's one of those like ingrained things that like. It's just like, hey, we're going here. Okay, yeah, let's double that.
Yeah, and I mean it basicly.
But you're a wanderer. You're a wanderer.
I'm a wanderer at 10 miles per gallon, which isn't great. when you're towing, oh my goodness,
my gosh,
which is most of the time. So, I mean, there was a week that I'll back up. Yeah. We drove from Southern Oregon across Eastern Oregon, and I learned on this trip, Eastern Oregon is in another time zone. Why? I have no idea. I didn't know that Oregon was in 2 time zones, but it is.
Pacific
So,
and Mountain.
yeah, so we got into mountain time and we weren't even out of our state yet. Okay, so tell me how often that happens to you. Never.
Only if I'm in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Okay, so you actually
Because
do
there is a small portion of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan that is in Central Time Zone, which everybody thinks that Detroit is in Central Time Zone anyway. They're
I
like,
would have.
oh,
I
you know,
assumed it would have been.
exactly. We're like on the far, like
Yeah.
western edge of of Eastern Time Zone, but it makes it
Yeah.
great
I mean,
for working remote.
Lexington, Kentucky is also in Eastern time zone. It's pretty much directly south of you guys. So,
Yeah.
but even that, I wouldn't have thought Eastern time zone. But here we are.
It's funny as I can drive from Michigan to Florida and stay in Eastern Time Zone.
Yeah, that's
In
wild.
certain depending on which way I go. Say if I go the Georgia route, then yes. If I go the like say go through Alabama route, then no, I'm in Central Time Zone.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I learned that, and it is an odd time zone map. It makes like this hook throughout Oregon. I assume it has to do with all the farming that happens in Eastern Oregon. I don't know for sure, but
Weird.
yeah. So then we drove through southern Idaho, like through Boise, Twin Falls. Twin Falls is pretty cool.
Nice.
There's a bridge that people are legally allowed to base jump off of there.
Yeah.
And so everybody does, and you just go and jump. Like you just
Did you?
like there's no referee calling too much wind. Like it's all up to you. It's totally a legal base
Did you
jump.
stop and watch?
I did. I watched. I got a little video of somebody.
You didn't do
jumping
it
off.
though.
I didn't do it.
Oh.
So I sent a video to my friend who is a base jumper. Who like every time I climb a new rock, he's like, "Can you jump off of it?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's not the kind of thing that I look up." And so I sent the video of the guy who jumped that I took. I said, of course, I'm sure you've jumped off this bridge. He sends me back. He's like, I've been here Thursday through Saturday, and I jumped 9 times.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
So there you go.
Uh,
So just missed him, I guess. But
so the
yeah.
question that I would ask is why?
It's a thrill-seeking
It's a yeah.
thing.
I
That's what-
guess.
yeah. And you got to prove how awesome you are. So then we drove through a little bit of Utah, but then all the way across Wyoming, basically.
Oh wow.
And let me tell you something about Wyoming.
What about Wyoming?
There are a couple good spots in Wyoming.
A couple?
And it's mostly very, very boring. So
Oh.
there's a lot of oil production and
So it is
really
the-
bad roads. Really bad roads.
So it
Terrible
is the slightly more northern version of Kansas. Nothing against Kansas, but oh my God, it's flat, and oh my
Yeah.
God, it's boring.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been to a couple spots in Kansas that were not flat nor boring. They were actually quite beautiful.
You got to tell me where those are because I missed them.
I'm struggling to recall what is the capital of Kansas? What is it? There's somebody can help us out here. Leave a comment.
It's not
'cause I'm not
Manhattan.
gonna.
No.
No, I'm not gonna look it up right now. That's where it's beautiful. It's like lake
Okay.
country. It's rolling hills. Extremely beautiful. So I did a talk there for AIA Kansas, and
Oh yeah, that's right.
I got to
That's
do
right.
a fun little tour with somebody there, and it was quite beautiful. So
I
it's not
forgot
Kansas
about
City, just in case that was your guess.
No,
it's not.
No,
that.
it was no. I've been through Kansas City, and the thing that you can see best from the interstate is the Chiefs Stadium.
Right. And you're a huge fan, I know. So yeah,
Yeah, sure.
a little bit of dead air there, Cormac.
I'm a fan that the past 2 meetings of the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs, Detroit won. So
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, Swift wasn't there, I guess. So it's Topeka. That's where it was. I did look it up.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were that. I remember when you went there. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, it left an indelible mark on my head.
Well, the landscape. The landscape.
It was
clearly did.
amazing. Yeah, beautiful. So anyway, you're on a tangent. I didn't go through Kansas. I went through Wyoming, and then we got into South Dakota, the Black Hills of South Dakota.
Yeah.
So really far away, really long to get there. Extremely gorgeous, just beautiful. I mean, and so if you ever wondered, is there a spot in the Dakotas to go to, I'd highly recommend.
Yeah.
And there's so much to do there. We spent 8 days there, and we filled every day. And like my wife and I once again lamented the fact that we don't go on vacations.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that I've said that previously, like this was a good thing. And this time, I think we're just kind of like we needed to go get away. And what we did is we went on a trip, right? Which is what we do, because we're not likely going back to the same place again, right? So we did all of the things, and it's just kind of a grind at some level, and at another level, you're kind of glad you saw it all when you were there. So, not quite sure how I haven't fully internalized this yet, but
so we both kind of hinted as we were kind of like in the mileage and all this other stuff that we're drivers, wanderers, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So my summer trip, I can see, I stumble across a few places that I definitely want to see again or explore more.
Sure.
Is there anywhere on your journey that you're like, yeah, we got to come back here?
Yeah, I mean, there's two spots. I would go back to the Black Hills of South Dakota because there's so much more rock climbing I could do there. That was just I did a couple of routes and some boulders and stuff, and it was the highlight of the trip. And it's just like you can't even believe how many rocks there are to climb. So as a rock climber, it's like everywhere you look, it's like rocks. It's amazing. Nice. And really wonderful climbing. So yeah, for sure. But we did the Badlands. We did Jewel Caves National Park. We did Mount Rushmore. We did the Black Hills. We did tons of like little stuff. We did the Crazy Horse National Monument, which is absolutely insane project that they've been working on for like 80 years to do something like Mount Rushmore for Crazy Horse, which is a really cool and even bigger at an even bigger scale, which is really incredible. Trying to think what else we did. There was a bunch of little stuff. The one place that we didn't get to go that I would love to go would be Wind Caves National Park, and that was closed because they're installing an elevator. So you can't go in at all. And so we decided, like, because we couldn't have the full experience there, we decided to wait until when and if there might be a next time. So. But yeah, I mean, there's so much to do there. I mean, and I'm glad that we kind of planned it more than like 3 days, because I think we would have felt like we didn't get to experience all that it had to offer if we had a shorter period there. But I feel like we did really dang good. And we got to see the 47th annual Studebaker show, which I sent you a couple photos from. Yeah, that's in Custer, South Dakota, once a year. And I mean, we just happened upon that. It's not like I planned on that. We just saw it. I'm like, I need to stop there.
Gotta go.
To look. And they were incredible. That was super cool. Yeah, so a bunch of fun stuff.
Every time I see a Studebaker, my father had a Golden Hawk. And I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. Yeah. And it was pretty amazing. I've got some photographs of it. But I always keep thinking, I'm like, I want to get one to kind of restore and honor him. But my gosh, every time I talk to somebody who has one, they're like, oh, it's such a pain.
There was this truck, and I got the story from the guy, and like I'm looking through his photo book of the restoration, and it looked like he had it painted like 4 different times. And so I'm like, have you really painted it like 4 different times, right? It was this color, then that color. He's like, no, those were all donor trucks to make this truck.
Yeah.
It was a 4-to-1 truck. Yeah. It took 4 trucks to build one truck. He said the only original part on this truck, the parts are the engine and the transfer case and the frame. That was it. Wow. Everything else came from other vehicles to put that thing back together. So
I can't afford 5 vehicles.
Right. You got to have a place to put them.
I don't even
You got to
think-
have
yeah.
a place to organize all that stuff while you're kind of figuring this out. He said he bought another Studebaker truck to learn how to put together the truck that he was planning on putting together. Like, that's just a little
That's psychotic.
over the top.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But
anyway,
didn't you send me a picture of that truck?
it was the white and blue one. It wasn't that really crazy
okay.
sculpted cab one.
Okay.
I'll put some pictures in the show notes for this. It was pretty fun.
Because, I mean, it's interesting, the community, just the car culture community in general. But I know that the Studebaker, I mean, I remember going to car shows down in Florida with my dad, and he would stop at every single Studebaker, and they would just sit there and chat the whole time. And now, when I
guess you don't see him that often, but
no, well, I mean, you saw a whole entire like car show dedicated to him.
right.
But actually, now that I think about it, what I felt when my dad would stop and sit and chat with all the Studebaker owners and stuff is probably what my kids feel now. They're like, oh, here goes my dad.
Yep.
Gonna be talking about these cars.
Whole family.
Especially if I stop and say, oh, there's a Triumph. Let's look.
So my oldest son was with us, and he shoots. He has a Yashica double reflex camera, right? So it
Yeah.
looks like a old Rolleiflex or something.
Yeah.
And this thing is mint. He has this. So it shoots 120, and he shoots like Portra 400 or 100. I think he was
Nice.
shooting 100 in it. So it was kind of perfect for like the normal daylight stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he got this camera like 2 years ago at a thrift store. In the original packaging, had never been opened, right? So this thing is just perfect. He got more comments about that camera because he was shooting film at the car show, and then he shot some at the Badlands. There was a guy working at the counter in Badlands who just saw it around his neck, and it's like, I got to talk to you about your camera because I had one when I was in high school. And they just, he just
Nice.
went off,
Like
down the
full
rabbit
tilted,
hole
yeah.
of cool old cameras and stuff. And they started talking about medium format and this and that and all this stuff. And it was really cool to see. But like that's another version of like these people who get together for the car shows, right?
Yeah. Well, funny you say that. I just had a conversation with a friend of mine from the Army that I haven't spoken to in 30 years. And we were kind of messaging each other yesterday. I was like, it might be easier if we just save our old fingers and call each other. He's like, you're right. And so he did. And then 2 hours later, we hang up. But and he was just like, oh, I see all these pictures that you post, and I've been getting into photography and things like that. And so we just like fell down this rabbit hole of talking about cameras and film versus digital. And he was asking me about like what kind of kit I use and vice versa and stuff. And you're right. It's just like when you see somebody who's got like that the same kind of like passion or whatever that you have in it, you're gonna you make a new friend and a friend for life.
Yeah. He also brought a 35 millimeter Minolta that I think he paid $60 for at a
right there.
You got one too?
That's my dad's Minolta.
Yeah. My dad had a Minolta too.
My dad was a Minolta shooter.
He bought it at a thrift store as well, and it's in really great condition. I didn't see him take it out to shoot it at all. And last Christmas, I bought him like a 6-pack of expired Kodak Portra 400 film to put, because it's so cool to shoot. You never know what you're going to get when you run some expired film through there.
Exactly.
But you might as well use it,
yeah.
But he's so careful about what he shoots. And I think that's what's so interesting about shooting film, right? It's like you're kind of precious about the shots that you can get.
And I think about this often too, especially because behind my head I've got a Canon AE1 and then my Minolta in both film cameras, and then what's staring at me in the face is my Fuji XT series digital. And even though there's a lot of similarities in the way that you can control it and all that other stuff, I can just shoot for days. I mean, we could just shoot for days and have like, how many pictures did you take? Exactly.
Right.
It's like, how many pictures did you take? I've got 37 of the same exact image. Mm-hmm. But you have film and it's 36, you've got 36 frames. And I remember back when I was running the dark room at Auburn, and I was shooting all the time and stuff, and I was so selective in what I was shooting. You know, you set it up, you take your time. It really is the true like essence of the craft, and you know this. I know you know this.
I shot all slide and print photography of all my projects for my portfolio, and I actually went to my photographer friend's studio to shoot my stuff too at the very end, like when I had it all. And I mean, he was shooting medium format Hasselblad shots of my stuff, and he was using the Polaroid back, you know, for all the test lighting, make sure it was going to actually what ends up on film is going to look like what, you know, properly exposed. I still have the Polaroid tear-offs, right? Because even those were cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I still have those in a shoebox, and it's like those are worth scanning as well because there's just some really cool quality. The Polaroid back stuff is all black and white. The actual shots are in color, and it was just, I mean, there's something really cool and magical about that whole process that is kind of lost on, you know. What was funny was my son's using his iPhone as his light meter. Right. So he's got a light meter app. It's looking through the camera on the iPhone so that he knows how to set up his camera so that he can shoot and get the right exposure and everything. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
So pretty funny how the modern camera is the old light meter.
Well, you know, I mean, you and I get together often, and what's funny is that both of us, on more times than not, will pack our big cameras, and more often than not, those big cameras never come out of our, you know, out of the bag. It's, you know, we reach for
enough.
Yeah, we reach for the iPhone and
the one in your pocket, right?
Exactly. And we've had so many conversations about it. It's like, you know, the ease of just this, and they're getting so much better and so much better, and like half of the stuff that I shoot now is on that, you know, just run it through Lightroom.
And like you, my main camera is being used for this.
Right, exactly.
And it doesn't really leave this desk anymore.
Right,
it's just one of those things where it's like it's locked down. I don't want to reset it up, so
because then, like, with us now switching to video and stuff, and actually it's just like I want it to be in the same position for every time, and it's not.
There's so many settings, right? Like
exactly.
that to me, that's what it's. I just don't want to find all because every time you go shoot, you mess with everything on a camera.
And I think I don't know if it was the last recording or the recording before that where I was having trouble with it focusing on me.
Right.
I had no idea why. So
I mean, and your muscles, your photographic muscles do atrophy if you don't use the equipment, right?
I do love, I mean, I'll say that the thing that I love about the XT series is that you have exactly the same settings as that's on the Canon AE1 and the Minolta. The top buttons, you can just sit there and take it off of auto and start.
It's like very much like a manual
through.
camera.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that's cool. And you got a lot of buttons and knobs to twist there.
And a lot of times I will say that I have to like refresh my memory on which dial I'm turning.
Right. Totally.
But I want to hear more. So you did climbing, you know, you did a lot of miles and stuff. I gotta feel, or I gotta just assume that there's some architecture in there somewhere.
Very little, but there were some really cool. I mean, you go into like the natural architecture of these formations and these caves, and like this is national park, and these aren't the kind of national parks like Yellowstone. Like these are national parks that are more like on the Death Valley side of things, where it's like you are in your car driving 300 or 400 miles through the Badlands, right? To get there and to get back and to tour through. I mean, driving on dirt roads for hours to go see stuff and looking for prairie dogs and buffalo and all of the things that you can find out there. We did stop at Wall Drug. Are you familiar with the brand?
Yeah, I'm familiar
the
with
original Wall Drug.
The Wall Drug.
in Wall, I believe the town is named Wall, South Dakota, and it was really cool. Like just totally kitschy. I can't like it's the kind of thing that started small and just got added onto and added
Yeah.
onto and added onto, and then eventually I think they just like built a warehouse and then they infilled it with shops and made it look and feel like it was the old West.
Back, yeah.
This is the kind of place you can go and still get a 5-cent cup of coffee. Like, wow,
That's
absolutely
like,
incredible.
I
Super
don't
cool.
know if you've ever been it's in South Carolina. It's called South of the Border. So it for those listeners who know, South of the Border is I always thought of it as kind of like the East Coast version of Wall Drug,
Okay.
because it is very kitschy, and it's grown to like insanity level proportions. It's got, it has the gas station, the restaurant, the, amusement parks, and everything is South of the Border themed
Yeah.
in the middle of the Carolinas.
This is the
So-
place that has like the moccasin gift shop, the bookstore, the chapel, the
yeah, yeah.
parlor, the ice cream, the everything. It has everything under the roof. I mean, it was pretty cool actually. That was
Everything-
really
Everything
Americana.
everything you just rattled off South of the Border has the same.
yeah.
So-
Yeah, pretty cool.
Well,
Yeah,
you-
architecturally, I have to say, man, it was not an architectural trip in
Well, you
just
ran
about
across
any
like the
fashion.
most vacant, like
Part of the country.
sparsely populated parts of the country.
right.
And so even if you found architecture per se, it was probably way out of your way, or it was just,
The coolest architecture that I saw was literally ghost towns, real ghost towns
Oh,
that were
yeah.
just abandoned. They used to be a roadside attraction, or they used to be a town on a highway,
mhm.
and they were so cool. Like we had to stop and photograph them,
Oh, yeah.
and that was to me kind of I love that kind of this
Yeah.
is very much the Atlas Obscura kind of
Oh, my
ruins,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and my youngest who was there, he was just like, how can I get into that that very unsafe building? Like, how can I sneak in there? And it's
Just
he
do
would
it.
love doing an Atlas Obscura kind of a road trip for sure.
Well, I mean, where you used to live when my son and I took that long trip, that coast to coast
Mhm.
trip, and we had basically left from LA, went through your town, and then kind of like out towards Vegas and kind of out that way. We hit things like there was the ghost towns in the mountains of California.
Oh yeah, like Calico and
Calico, exactly. Thank you.
Mhm.
I was forgetting which. I knew it started with a C. And then you get in there, and then you're driving along like what seemingly is the more abandoned parts of Route 66 and Rockahula Water Park that's completely abandoned, and the ruins there are completely just graffitied out. And there's some pretty. Actually, what's funny is way back in the day when we did this was 2019, and I posted some photos. The actual like poet that tagged a couple of them had seen them and commented on my photographs, and they're like, "Hey, would you mind if I repost some of your pictures of my
That's cool.
poetry?" I'm like, "Oh, absolutely, dude."
they didn't
but
want royalties, at least.
No, they just thought it was,
Take down notice for your photos of their artwork.
yeah.
Yeah, so on our way back, we did a little bit of a different route. We were originally going to go through the Tetons and Jackson Hole, up just south of Yellowstone. But we have been there before, and nobody had like a thing they really wanted to do there. So I successfully lobbied for us to go to Park City, Utah, where I could do some mountain biking.
Okay.
But on the way there, we stopped in Lander, Wyoming, which is the location where there's this place called Sinks Canyon, and it's a state park. And you drive way up in this canyon, all the way up, and we ended up like towing our trailer all the way to the top so the boys could do some fishing. But wow, it was beautiful, absolutely incredible. So that's another place that I would potentially want to go back to and spend more time in. Lander is kind of more on the western side, pretty much south of Jackson Hole, a couple of hours. But that was a really cool place. And then we spent a few days in Park City and did some trail riding there. And Park City has some of the best mountain bike trails in the U.S., I would say.
Very
and
cool.
then we came home and we booked it home and got back into Oregon. And I wanted to show this here. This is what I had in the mail waiting for me.
Speeding ticket?
Yeah, it's a giant speeding ticket. No. I'm now a registered architect, Cormac. I'm now registered.
In the state
of Oregon. Yes.
Yeah.
So I am now a licensed architect and a registered architect. Which one should I go with? What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, like, what the designation difference between my licenses are.
Yeah, really? I would assume, I don't know if there. So what's funny is in California, right, that you get the same piece of receipt, this little thing that you could display. It's like a third of a 8.5 by 11. Like if you were to trifold an 8.5 by 11, fold it like a letter, that's the size of the license that you get. You need to renew that every 2 years. It's the same one as somebody who like is a manicurist, right? Right?
Yeah.
It's like exactly the same.
I've got a little, I have that, but then it also came with like a little card.
Yeah, you get that too.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that in Oregon, so I don't know if that's coming or not. I mean, this is they call this piece of paper a decorative wall, kind of a poster. And then I did get the little, like it's on an 8.5 by 11. It's a little thing that you have to cut out and keep it in your wallet to show that you're a registered architect. And I'm like, yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I'm not
Hold on,
a
let me get
card-carrying architect.
Let me get out my lamination.
Right, get out your lamination machine. Yeah, no, that I don't think that's going in my wallet. I think that would be kind of funny though. It's like you're going through your credit cards and will this work? Can I pay with this? Can I pay with my Oregon registration?
No.
That's just a piece of paper. Like
I'm a registered architect, so
right. Yeah.
What does that get me?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. So
it gets you a congratulations, sir. Now it's still $3.
Right. So that's my architectural tie-in for this episode because we did have to bring it back to architecture. So yeah, and I thought it would be kind of interesting to talk about what was different about getting this one. So obviously I went through the reciprocity process so that I didn't have to start over. That would be crazy. And this is actually the reason I re-upped my NCARB certificate. I guess it was a year ago. When they had like those
took advantage
discounts.
Of that awesome deep discount that I totally
right, because they basically waived all the back fees,
right,
and then they raised the fees. They've raised the fees twice now. I don't know if I told you they've raised the fees 2 years in a row now since I re-upped. I think that's kind of prices of everything go up even when you do nothing. I literally had to pay $450 to NCARB to get them to transmit electronic files to the state of Oregon. Wild. That's just wild. I mean, on top of my membership,
Is Oregon one of the states, because I know Maryland is, one of the states that you don't, or is it exclusively reciprocity through NCARB, or is there two different routes?
You have two different routes. You can submit all of the information yourself.
Yeah.
Except like transcripts, you would have to send in official transcripts. Those have to come from
that's what
university.
I did. That's what I did because my first license was Florida. Then I got my Maryland license, and I didn't have NCARB at the time, or did I?
And the fees were prohibitive, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it cost me almost nothing to do it other than time and a bunch of email exchange back and forth.
Yeah, you have to track it all down.
Yeah.
I felt like my time was more valuable. than the $450. So it was a toss up though. It's like that's normally the kind of thing where I'd be like, screw it, I'm just doing it myself.
Yeah, I'm cheap.
But
I'm cheap.
yeah,
So
I get it. I get it. You're willing to put in the time. I'm not willing to put in the time. Yeah,
exactly.
So I had to do
dedication.
that, and then in California, to get your license there, you have to take the California supplemental exam, which used to be orals. Now it's a digital exam, which is a lot like an ARE exam.
Right.
And it's massive. It was a massive exam. You had to go to a testing center. The only difference really was, so first of all, because California is so large, there's a lot of different climate zones, ecosystems, and they want you to know all of them, right? So basically, if you're going to get licensed in the state of California, you have to learn all of this stuff that no matter where you practice. And then you find out if you passed or failed on the spot, which was different than the NCARB test. I don't know if they've changed that since then, but we used to have to wait. When I started the NCARB test, how long did you have to wait to get results for a test when you started taking those exams, like in ARA 3 or 4 land?
3. It was like 2 weeks.
I think for me, the first one I took, it was like 6 weeks.
Oh, it could have been like...
It was so long.
Honestly,
right?
It's been so long since I took it.
The letter came in the mail, and you didn't want to open it.
And then you're just like, I don't want to open it. And then you tear it open, and you just kind of like slowly peel it back. And you're like, pass or fail.
Right. And so that was how it was. And then by the time I was like actually doing it and finishing up, it was still a couple of weeks, I think. I don't remember. It definitely wasn't like you learned right then. You had to wait. You had a waiting period because they had to. Even though it was done on the computer and they already knew the answer, you still got to suffer.
I remember the first go round. I was doing so well on my success rate, my pass-fail success rate, and I took everything, and then the one that I dreaded the most was the structures one. And my buddy had just taken it. He's like, man, it was cake. He's like, they hardly asked me any questions with formulas and calculations and stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, then maybe he's like, you need to know all of the concepts and all of this other stuff. I'm like, okay, all right. And he was just like, it's like, I think it was like maybe like 3 or 4 questions or whatever. I'm like, really? On that whole test, that was it? He's like, yeah, I'm pretty, for calculations. And I take his advice and assume that focus on other things, right? Yeah, mine was 70% formulas and calculations. And I bombed it so miserably.
At least, yeah. I mean, at least you knew it when you were taking it, though. You're like,
I'm sitting there. It's just like,
there's no chance.
No, mate. This, I know what I'm getting.
It wasn't like it was going to even be close, and you were going to have to worry. Like you just knew.
It was still a little demoralizing, though. Of
course,
because you just like
wasted your money, you wasted your time.
Yeah.
Right. Well, shame on you for listening to somebody.
Yeah. So moral of the story is don't trust your friends.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. So we had to, for Oregon, I had to take an online open book exam, which I thought, okay, that didn't sound bad. And then it's like, okay, here's what you need to review. Here's what you should review. And it was they called it the jurisprudence exam. And it was basically all of Oregon's statutes pertaining to practicing architecture, but then other things too. And I thought, I actually liked this one a lot better. I mean, it wasn't just, I didn't just like it because it was open book. Like, obviously, I actually learned, like the ARE, I learned a lot through the studying of it, about it, but also I felt like it actually applied. Whereas the California one, for where I was working on projects in California, it was pretty regionally specific. It's an arid, dry climate, long overhangs. Like passive design was pretty straightforward. I wasn't working in wetlands. I didn't need to know all the FEMA certifications and there was, and my role was pretty specific with design. It wasn't like having to do all of the sustainability checklists and all that, but they still tested you on all that stuff. I felt like this was actually really appropriate. And I'm trying to remember. It was like 25 questions. It was 90 minutes. And it went in like five question chunks. And you could go back and just like an ARE kind of exam, you can mark questions, you can go back, you have 90 minutes to do it however you want. And you can obviously have the website up and you can use the find feature, but I think what was interesting about it was, they would ask you a question, you would mentally just try to figure out kind of categorically. So if it had to do with, like, they would even ask you about naming your firm or general registration questions, and like, because there's rules around how you can name your firm, and there's rules about all kinds of things, when it comes to practicing architecture. And again, like, it just kind of forces you to know that stuff so that they can enforce it, right? Because there's, how many of us have actually read the Architects Practice Act, like, who practice architect? Even if you're not a licensed architect, you work in a firm, you're working on projects as an architect, basically. Like, nobody knows that stuff. Like, sorry, like, that's the truth. Like, you fall under the liability of the firm, not yourself, right?
Yeah, that's a long conversation that we could have.
It is.
Because... Yeah,
anyway. But you have a risk management team in a large firm. Like, you have lawyers. Like, they have all this stuff, and you're. I mean, that's how it actually operates. But they in Oregon, they are actually asking you questions about that to obtain your registration,
and,
which I thought was
that's good.
It was nice. It was not bad at all.
I mean, at the very least, because we were having a conversation about licensure upon graduation and things like that, and how there are some things that you can prepare yourself for when you're legally able to practice, right? Although you're just graduating school and you don't have some of the practical experience. In things like that, though, forcing somebody to study, if you're sitting for the Michigan exam and studying the statutes to practice for your Michigan licensure as well, you're getting your licensure, but then, everybody puts their record into a state. Mine was the state of Florida. And so when I passed the exams, I would be a practicing architect in the state of Florida. And to have a supplemental that said, okay, you're now legal to practice architecture in the state of Florida. What does that mean? And what are your responsibilities for practicing in the state of Florida? I love that. Honestly, that right there is probably the most applicable, like,
I was gonna say appropriate. It was appropriate.
It's just like, it's that you've got a license, now what?
And I also really actually appreciated, and nobody I don't think would go against this, that it was open book, because guess what, like, that's the world we live in.
Come on,
like, you can seriously look anything up.
What would we, when you're doing a code review, what do? Open the code books. When you're doing structural, you open the books. I mean, everything that we do is open book. So why not?
Yeah, and the thing about it to me is, like, these things get updated, right? And so you're always looking at the most current version. You can't expect, like, the thing that you learned to be the law of the land forever. Like, these things get updated. New statutes get put in, things get struck out, new sections get added, as well as edits that happen. And so you're looking at the most latest version, which is, again, we're just going to look it up. And I thought that was pretty appropriate. So not bad at all. So 90 minutes, 25 questions. I think you had to get like an 84%. I don't know where they came up with that number. It must be based on the number of questions you could get wrong. Leads to an 84%. But that was the minimum passing rate. But no problem there. So it was.
So you had to get a B.
You had to get a B, almost B plus, right? And so higher than what's required on AREs. I think wasn't that like 70?
Yeah, I thought it was like around 70. Yeah. Just like...
Yeah. So, anyway, that was my experience. I passed, and then it literally took a couple weeks for it to show up as like that final step had actually
Well,
happened.
don't in this is how it happened in the state of Florida. Is that it had to go in front of the architectural licensing board for the state, and they only met once a month, and so
That could be what happened. I don't know.
You know,
It
so
seems like it's all digital. I don't know why, but why it would take that long, or why it would have to
well,
go
I
in front of
think
that
it
board.
just has to like physically. Mine had to physically go in front of the board and be reviewed and approved. So like human eyes had to be on it. Even
I think human eyes had to be on it, but I don't think it was like a board review for me. But anyway, who
Well,
knows?
that's cool, though.
There's a little bit of a black box there still.
And I know you're keeping your California license because
Yes, because
never
once you have that, you never give it up.
exactly. People are asking me, okay, well, now that you moved to Michigan, you're going to get a Michigan license. I'm like, yeah, probably going to get a Michigan license. I haven't yet. And then they were like, well, what are you going to do with your Florida and your Maryland? I'm like, honestly, the same hours that I would need to be applying for CEUs for Michigan are the same that are going to go for Maryland, the same that are going to go for Florida. And it honestly would probably be more likely that I would do a project in Florida than I would in Michigan or Maryland. And so I'm always going to keep Florida because it was my first. It was my baby.
Couldn't you just get it again if you needed it again? Like, couldn't you let it lapse? Was there any extra test or anything that you had to do there?
No, you'd be, which is weird because in Florida, especially with needing to know that things need to go through the Miami-Dade certification and all of the Florida product approval things and stuff like that, that they would have a supplemental, which they don't, which is really odd, but who knows? I mean, could I?
You
Sure.
just have to comply when you do plan check, right? I mean, it's another way to handle it.
So the only thing that I have to do to maintain my Florida license is every year as I'm getting all of my CEUs is I need to do 2 additional hours of advanced code CEU. Right. And honestly, I mean, I know that sounds weird, but me and my currently
your CEU addiction,
that I'm like, cool. I want to know what was kind of going on with the.
Bring it on.
It's just like, oh yeah, they just adopted a new code. Now I will say that some of the advanced code, big old air quotes there, some of the advanced code stuff is sort of ridiculous. It's like, there was one where it's just like, how do you document ADA on your, accessibility on your drawings? It's just like something kind of like randomly weird that you're just like, these are the things that are just kind of like
advanced code.
Yeah, I was just like, how is this advanced? I mean, I want
it's just normal.
Like, give me some meat. Like
when you work in public work, I guess maybe.
Yeah, but the thing is that like we have, like at our firm, and in fact this has been the same for like a couple of different firms that I've worked for, that we have kind of a boilerplate that here is the template for code and accessibility that you're going to put in the front of your documents, that you're going to tailor it for the project that you're working on, but at the very minimum, this is the level of information that you need. And so accessibility and how you do your fire and life safety documentation and all of that other stuff, those are the things that you need to sit down and just pass. Like that's the first thing that the AHJs are going to look for, right?
Table stakes.
Yeah. So like
totally.
it was so weird that that was like, how is this advanced? This is the requirement. This is the have to have.
Yeah, the requirements in California are different than they are in Oregon, or maybe I should say that the other way around. But we have to do zero net energy credits now,
right,
to get our renewals in California and accessibility. But in Oregon, it's 24 HSUs. Is that what it is? HSU, health safety. HSW. Sorry, I couldn't remember the right letters. So just 24 HSWs. I thought that was interesting that it was different. So
well, how many what do you need in? So
I want to
both,
say it's 5 hours of each of accessibility and 5 of net zero energy.
and
I
that's
think.
all you needed in California.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so like
I could be wrong. People can
both
correct me,
both
but
both
I just look it up every time I need to do it.
both
I don't
Maryland
remember
and
it.
Florida require 22, and Florida requires the additional 4. I'm sorry, 2 of the advanced code.
I guess I should look it up. Huh? Just real time.
You probably should.
Because I think it's this is an even year, so I don't need to worry about it for one more year. But you're doing your CEs all the time, and I like bundle them all together and
CEUs all the time, every time. In fact, I just did some today.
All right. Let's see what does Google says.
On
Disability
advanced
access
water.
oh yeah, it says 5 hours of coursework on disability access requirements, 5 hours on zero net carbon design.
That's
There you go.
California.
That's California. Yeah, that's what I thought it
Okay.
was. Okay. Yeah, so all those other HSW, like it's actually, it has been historically difficult to find these courses. And so people offer them for money, right? Because they're difficult to find, and you can get all of your hours done in one shot by taking these courses for
Why is the
hundreds of dollars. It's like, no.
Why is the first
thing
thing that pops up when I go to the AIA.org website is, would you recommend this website to other people? No.
I don't know. I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah, that's true. You have not.
I'm not a member.
I am looking to see.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. First
there-
thing you get, you haven't even used the website yet. How likely is it that you would recommend this website to a friend or colleague?
Did you
I don't
go?
know yet.
Did you go to it?
I just went
That's
to it right
great.
now. Yeah. Looks like a new
Alright.
website. I haven't seen
Well,
this one.
okay, so here's the thing. So it's a new website until you go to your profile. Then it reverts back to the old website.
Hmm. All right.
And all I'm trying to do. Okay, so
Get some more
Yeah.
dead air here, Cormac. What are you doing?
I was just looking up sorry, Maryland requires 24. Florida only requires 22 HSWs.
So that's similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
I mean-
are the 24 HSWs?
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
Maryland's
that's
is
the same.
24 HSWs, Florida's is 22, and then it does it needs to reflect the Florida Building Code or the Advanced Florida Building Code. You want to guess how many I have at September 12th?
Well, I think the last time we talked, you had 68.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, 72. Apparently
72.
I've slowed down.
6 a month.
Like why?
Why?
Actually, a lot of times it's just like I'll go to lunch and learns and things like that. And granted, I'm doing them all remotely, so there is no lunch; it's just learn. But
Provide your own lunch.
But it is kind of interesting because like today was talking about advanced waterproofing, like blindside waterproofing and all of that other stuff. And it's good, especially since it's done by one of like the leading manufacturers that we typically use their details, and so it's always good to kind of like just see if they've updated all of their stuff, because then we have to turn around and update all of our stuff, that if we're like have standard details that were built off of like their previous go round and stuff. And so that's why I do it, for more of just like, I guess, technical prowess for projects and stuff, I guess. I don't know. Like, know your
questioning it.
Know
You
your stuff.
do it. You're doing it, but you don't question it, and now you're kind of questioning it. Why do I do this? And then here comes
That
Scully.
feel like an out of body experience. For those who want to see what's going on right now, just go to the video.
Yeah, for those who are listening, Cormac is holding up an orange Tang skull.
A Tang
All
skull.
right. Well, that's all I wanted to talk about, Cormac. We're done here.
Well, I'm glad you're back. And
Thanks.
it sort of feels like, we're back now because I think both of us have gotten our summer trips, behind us, and school's back in session. And maybe next time we'll talk a little bit more. Now that I think the last time we talked about school, I hadn't actually started with
Right.
the students.
You had just done like faculty meetings and stuff.
Yeah,
Planning.
and so now I'm at week 3. So the next time we'll talk will be week 4, and we can talk about how people reacted the mid semester whatchamacallit, reviews. Yeah, those.
Okay. Reviews
what
already.
Well, it's just
Moving fast.
it's more of just the studio instructor's progress review of like the where they're at with the assignments that we've given them, which
All right.
is kind of interesting. And I will give them some kudos that at this stage of where they are in school, they are seniors for what would be their bachelor's of science in architecture, so their 4th year, and everyone, all of them are sharp, and all of them are with it. There's not like anybody, like I've met with 40 plus students in this class, and all of them are pretty sharp.
Nice. That's
So,
great.
Yeah, we'll talk
Very
about
cool. All right. Save it. All right,
it.
man.
Saving it, putting a
Talk
pin
to you
in it.
next